we were talking, a friend and I were talking about social anxiety.
Mm.
So, social anxiety is a massive thing with young people. Um, that inability to go out, inability to talk to people, and so much of it is, while a lot of it is tied to social media, social behaviour anyway puts us um, at discomfort when we're young because we're going to have to change who we're talking to, talk to someone we don't know. And I said to her, when I was 17, I had a huge fight with my boyfriend because I wouldn't get out of the car and walk into a deli that I didn't know to buy milk. And that was social anxiety. Yes, I was
Mm.
anxious. Yes, I was shy. Yes, I was scared. But the reality is, I just had to go and do it. And I feel like perhaps we are pandering to some people too much and saying, oh, well, you stay inside or you stay in your little cubbyhole, instead of saying to some young people, putting them in a situation where there's others like them, but then setting up a activity task where you have to pick someone in that group, you have to walk up to them, you have to say, hello, I'm blah, tell me about yourself. Where do you live? What do you do? Have you got any pets? Have you got any hobbies? Ask questions, because the best way to overcome social anxiety is to take yourself out of yourself and focus on other people. And the best way to do that is ask questions. And that's what I've
Mm.
found when I've gone to events where there's a lot of young people. There's not a, they'll only gravitate to who they know. There's no introductions and crossover intros, and they're not asking questions. They're
Mm.
not, yeah. And I don't know that it's possible they're not curious. Perhaps we weren't curious when we were young either, but we were made to go and introduce ourselves.
Well, I sort of think I wasn't made to, but I was encouraged to. And mum and dad helped me as
Mm,
well when I found it difficult. Like they would
mm,
go with me and help me, like stand
yeah.
alongside me. So the thing is, the world's changed a lot, hasn't it? Couples have to work longer hours, and both of them have got to work really long hours to be able to afford their mortgages, etc. And
Mm,
then the children probably have a lot more extra curricular activities that are planned. I mean,
mm,
because we did a lot of things outside of school and whatnot, but it wasn't all, you've got this practice here, then you've got to go to that sports thing or this music thing
mm,
or whatever it is. So the time that you get to actually just be as a family and just go into those social situations where you can just be supported is probably
mm.
harder now than it was when we
Yeah,
were young.
yeah. Yeah, I guess, yeah, because we didn't have extracurricular, but we
And
were,
so many, sorry,
go
I
on.
interrupted.
Oh, just we
I
were
was just
expected to, yeah, interact with other adults, I think. And I feel as if they don't know how to interact with older people.
Well, why would they? They're in school or daycare all day.
Yeah. Even
And then they're
young
going to
adults.
their, yeah, and then they're going to their sports or their,
Mm,
whatever it is they're involved in outside of school,
yeah.
where they're
So when
interacting with their
yeah.
own age group again. So it's not
Mm,
surprising, really.
yeah. Yeah. I guess I hadn't thought about it to that depth, because
Yeah.
having homeschooled too and lived in a country town, I haven't had to raise a child in the city with a full-time job with, yeah, I've worked from home. Yeah. Mm. So
Mm,
there's a whole lot of inputs that I haven't witnessed, I guess.
mm.
Mm. But yeah.
And a lot of them. I find like comments on social media and online forums and that really difficult. But I notice that most of the people around me, whether they're old or young, like that form of communication, and it feels a safer one because they don't, I guess you're not putting yourself out there the same. So the way that we're learning to interact socially is quite different, isn't it? We're not forced to go out and meet people because we just do it in our bedrooms, in our online forums and things.
True, yeah. But that also
Yeah.
opens up that whole thing that there's no body language with our communications when they're like that.
Oh, well, I'm
So,
sure that that's often why there are arguments and things that happen more frequently because you haven't got that back and forward of, oh, what did you mean? Did you mean
mm,
this? It's
yes,
just with,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Mm. I'd like to see more of that in this format so that people can effectively use other ways of communication, use their body language and their facial expressions. So,
You've got
yeah.
to be open to the fact because we had a miscommunication. Just, last night when we had that miscommunication, can you remember what it was? It's so damn funny.
I stole some shallots.
That's right. So the, um, the conversation goes like this. Oh, I, I, you didn't use the word steal. What did you say?
I said I did something very naughty.
I did something very naughty. I went through and got these, and put got these shallots, and they went through as brown onions. Anyway, what was meant was I did something really naughty, like somehow the shallots went through as brown onions, so I got them a lot cheaper. And anyway, my response was, it's clever. This, this response, and I thought, okay, something's going on here. Suddenly I realized, oh God, I misunderstood. I thought what was meant was I used green shallots instead of brown onions in the recipe. But that's not
Oh,
what was meant. And I
it
was
was through a checkout.
it's like, gee, I thought that was a bit funny how you responded. I thought it was that simple. Like we had this
Yeah,
complete miscommunication. Now that was just a funny situation, and other than um, oh well, I twigged that something wasn't quite right. We ended up laughing like crazy, and it wouldn't have mattered even if I'd never twigged. It would have just been one of
yeah,
those things. That was really weird, Auntie. Like and then you forget about it for the rest of your life. But
yeah,
that is a really good example of just how we can have these completely. And that was like we were face to face. We were just out there
yeah.
in the kitchen working together,
Mm.
and
But your
just
brain
how
was in cooking mode and great and yeah, Grace's was in shopping mode.